Welcome, everybody, to the Give It Podcast, the podcast for blurs, for nerds. If you have a fandom, you are most certainly welcome here. Of course, the host with the most, of course, I am Black Spartan. Of course, my man to your left, your right behind your screen is flipped. Show a guy. You got to explain that one. That's new. What you got?
Yeah, so I opened a new channel, Show a Guy Joe, where it's going to be goofy tokusatsu stuff. I'm Joe Tano. Let us now be judged.
Judgment time.
I was left unattended again. Hey, we're innocent.
That being said, we are the Give It Podcast, much like WWE old guys. We do try to watch a language, but sometimes words do fly at the same time. There'll be things that might be shown tonight that might be too intense for younger viewers. So viewer discretion is advised. Aside from that, welcome. So, after we recover, because I'm be honest with you, I am so happy that I'm over this cold right now because it's nice now to be back in normal voice. Joe, what about you, man? How are you feeling?
Again, I was left unattended, and now I have an SPD. I have a Japanese artisan deck of Granger Morpher.
But you're happy?
Also think, oh no, really, actually I am. The gentleman who I bought it from, Kotetsu Toys, not sponsored, but again, please go look at him, sent me numerous goodies. So I got a Ryu Soldier key that's back there.
Nice.
I got my favorite Deca Ranger trading card, which is Deca Green, a coloring sheet from a festival. He very much packs his stuff in, so Taka-san, arigatou gozaimasu. No, seriously, guys, go check out Kotetsu Toys. It's fantastic. I got this thing in like 3 days.
That's good shipping. Well, man, you can't knock that. But hey, all good news all around. So, how do we start this?
So much television.
There is so much television, but actually some good news. We're not starting off on some concerned news, but good news, especially from the world of Star Wars. We have been told, as of today, guys, that Grogu and the Mandalorian will be getting their own movie. This will be directed by Jon Favreau, produced by Jon Favreau, Kathleen Kennedy, and Dave Filoni. It will go into production sometime this year. For all those that are probably wondering, that does not mean that we will not be getting a season 4. We will be getting a season 4 of The Mandalorian. What were you going to say, Joe?
We are not getting a season 4 of Mandalorian. It has now been canceled because they are getting a movie.
They changed their minds that quick. Wow. Then I stand corrected. I stand completely corrected then. We are not getting a season 4. We are just getting a movie. Still not a bad thing because we've seen The Mandalorian. I have no issues with it. I think it's a great show. Does it deserve a movie? Yes. Hopefully it's not going to get the Ryan Johnson treatment. I would hope not. Not a lot is being said about the movie right now. It's just the fact that it has been announced. But overall, it's great. But Joe, what are your thoughts on it?
Honestly, I'm in numerous. Oh, by the way, it got updated again. Now it's not canceled. They need to make up their mind. It was like updated 15 minutes ago, not canceled. That's not our fault.
They don't know. Does not know what
aside from that, honestly, I am of two minds because Mandalorian season 1 was so good because everyone can come into this. Doesn't matter who you are as a fan. You didn't need to know anything extra. Season 2 got bogged down because it started pulling in other things, and if you didn't know certain things, you were screwed and had to have someone come explain some things.
Fair.
Season 2.5, also known as the Book of Boba Fett, but let's just be real. It's Mando season 2.5. You need to know even more things because you don't know who the heck Boba Fett is. Well, you've been living under a rock. And you need to know what's going on with the Mando for the previous seasons and the Darksaber and other things, which you need to watch Star Wars Rebels for. My fear about this movie is that it's going to be intrinsically tied to something or some other source of media like they have been for the new trilogy, which is the biggest problem with the new trilogy was not the movies themselves, despite what a lot of people say. It is the poorly advertised additional material you needed to know going into the new movies. I have a fear that this will have the same thing. Is this going to have tie-in novels or a prequel novel or something that's going to happen right before the movie that's going to lead to the series of this events taking off, and no one's going to know what's going on because Disney doesn't advertise these things. Like, for example, Jedi Survivor. I just played and beat it. There is a whole novel that takes place before the game where Cal gets that crew at the beginning of the game.
Okay.
And you don't know anything about them because they're completely inconsequential in the game.
Okay. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. I will say this: Favreau and Filoni have given us a good track record so far. I mean, do I think that in my mind, it's probably gonna be the first time I'm going to say this about a Star Wars movie that's coming out regarding characters we've grown to care about. Because the two main guys are behind it, that gives me a little bit of hope that everything will be done right. At the same time, I want them to expand on that. Like, if Kira was here, Lady Mandalore, she could go into a whole thing about them going into more of the Mandalorian lore, and have a field day with it. But you could do so in a movie format, and you could explain it without having to have everybody go back to the book, so to speak. But I mean, I think it'll be. I mean, like I said before, I don't have that much concern. I guess the best way I could put that. I don't really have a lot of concern toward the Mandalorian Grogu movie. I think it's going to be great. The only concern I really have is how they're going to do Boba Fett if they decide to bring that back. But I mean, go ahead.
Like I said, I share that feeling. It's just the way the new universe is shaping out is. I feel like we're going to need some sort of supplemental material and be aware of it prior to the movie coming out. And of course, I don't mean like the TV shows. I mean, like, we literally left him at the front porch barbecuing with his kid in the yard.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I just don't want them to print like a novel that comes out 2 months before the movie to say, oh, well, here's why they're doing this. Because if we remember, Grogu did the Force healing a week before whatever movie had Kylo Ren doing Force healing.
Yeah.
Just so everybody would go, well, they've never done that before. That's dumb. No, they can point back. It's like, no, the baby did it last week in the episode.
I see your point on that. I don't think it'll. I mean, I can understand the point of concern. It's just that like I said, I
trust them. I don't trust Disney.
Oh no, they might do what Gunn did to DC. They might tell Disney, look, there's the line, don't cross it. I mean, it's possible, but I doubt it. But the other piece of Star Wars news that we do have, Ahsoka 2 is officially in development. This really should not be any surprise. The reason why, because of the success of the first season, rest in peace, Ray Stevenson, for his role in it. And a whole number of other factors and actors that have brought that season to what it is now. It's really not surprising that we're not getting a season 2. But again, I'm not complaining about it. I want to see where they go with it. Joe, anything you want to add to that?
I wonder how they're going to handle the Ray Stevenson thing, if they're going to recast, because that's a heck of a drop plot line if they don't. I hope for more with Rosario Dawson in this one, because I went back and watched it recently, and I noticed something about this show.
Okay.
If it's just Rosario Dawson, she comes in and either just crosses her arms or says something vague and let everybody else interact around her, with the exception of the Vader scene.
Okay.
And I think that's as the character, not as just her herself. And I'm like, I remember her doing more. Was I wrong the first time I watched it?
If I recall correctly, I think that's exactly how it went. If I recall it right.
Come in, cross her arms, say something, either trying to sound deep or mildly vague to where someone could work out the metaphor or lesson for themselves.
It may have been more mildly vague. I have to actually go back and watch it because now I'm not so sure about that.
It's just one of those, like, do I really want more of that? I mean, absolutely, I want more of it because I'm a huge Rebels fan, and we're getting Ezra and everything else. But it's one of those, I want more for Ahsoka to be a more active role in her own show.
Jedi Jesus. Ezra Jesus. I'm sorry.
That
The
sounds
look
like
that
what he looks like him.
I mean, he just came out. Well, let's be honest.
Now, let's be fair. Jedi Jesus is Obi-Wan Kenobi.
True, but he's more of the no, let me shut up about that. Anyway, let's just leave it
He's
at
more
that.
of Jedi King David versus Goliath.
I'll give you that. But no, still great news that Ahsoka will be getting a season 2. Good news that we will be seeing a Mandalorian Grogu movie. So again, that is some good news. The other part that we're about to get into now, however, I'm indifferent about. Maybe because this has been a long gestation thing with The Walking Dead. Maybe that so much time has gone by that people's interest may have just waned out because, let's be honest, The Walking Dead for the longest part tried to make its own universe, Fear the Walking Dead. There was another one I can't think of. Something else with The Walking Dead, like Far Alone or something like that. But anyway, the fact that The Walking Dead is trying to be expanded in this universe a little bit, and this new Andrew Lincoln television series, because it's not a movie, The Ones Who Live, is basically following the stories of Rick and Michonne. That being said, here's the trailer.
I'm looking for him. I'm gonna head north.
You don't want to go north, not now.
My wife is my choice. My daughter is my choice. My life is my choice. It's been so long.
Your phone, you know what it says, the Japanese? Believe a little bit longer.
Thank you, Grimes.
Why?
You showed me I can't get away.
This is the most powerful military on the planet.
I'm just gonna ask you a question, Grimes. Look in your eyes. Why are you here? Do you want to kill? Or do you want to die?
Look in my eyes, sir. You tell me.
We can make this whole damn world ours if we want to.
And as you can see, guys, that is The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live. Will be coming out very shortly at the end of the month. Again, this is the part that I'm going to have issues with because I love the graphic novel The Walking Dead. I loved how the graphic novel ended. I love the television series, although they did take some liberties, even though Robert Kirkman was still involved with the television series. They did take some liberties as far as some characters and how some stories ended. Even the actual ending to The Walking Dead, which could be argued, maybe loved, maybe hated, things of that nature, was great. Do I think that The Ones Who Live needs closure? I would say to a certain point, yes, because spoiler alert, for all those that don't know, Andrew Lincoln's character, Rick Grimes, does kind of fall off or disappear during the Walking Dead series. And Michonne decides to go after him also in the series. So both stars did depart the original Walking Dead series. And it was long said that, there would be a Rick Grimes movie. And then, COVID happened. And then viewership dropped with The Walking Dead. And a lot of plans either got made, got canceled, got made, got canceled, until we have now the series, The Ones Who Live. Now, for me, it's gonna be hard to watch it because number one, it's gonna be hard to get that interest back. Because The Walking Dead was such a story that it just kept you glued to the screen every Sunday, that because now we've been away from it for a while, does it give you that same type of feeling to it? And for me, it's just going to be hard to watch just because it's just not there for me. But what about you, Joe?
I couldn't care less. Like, I don't like The Walking Dead. I'm not a zombie person.
Okay.
I own Shaun of the Dead, and that's it.
So you wait at the pub and have a fight till it all blows over?
Pretty much.
No, that's fair.
In that one, I can at least power walk away. It's a safety.
Yeah, that is also fair. Zombies.
Like, I never had any love for The Walking Dead. I wasn't there for the comic book phenomenon. Wasn't there for the show. Zombies do not interest me. Like, not in the least.
Okay, nothing wrong with that. But I will say for me, just because don't get me wrong, Kirkman, as much as I love Walking Dead, I'm not gonna stand and say I'm not gonna watch it. It'll be hard for me to say I'm not gonna watch it because I still want to know what happens. I still want to see what this new story is going to be between Rick and Michonne, and of course the other part of the world, which for lack of points, I have no clue about. So it's going to be interesting. It's just the fact, like I said, it's going to be hard to get back into something when, the feeling's not there. But let us know in the comments what you guys think about The Walking Dead, the ones who live. But Joe, I do want to ask let me try it again. That was a terrible segue. I do want to ask you, Joe, about Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. How do you feel about the fact that they're moving their release date from March 29th to March 22nd?
Well, now I need to know when to reserve a hotel if we ever get to go to the premiere.
And that's the thing. I'm elated. That's what I was going to ask you about, because this is one of two news stories that we have that movie dates are either being changed or moved forward. And since they're putting us 1 week early with Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, again, I'm with you. It's a great thing. This is basically following the Afterlife movie, which, again, if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend. We both highly recommend that you do. And Frozen Empire looks like it's going to be more of the same, which is great storytelling, we hope. But yeah, I'm not against the fact of seeing it 1 week early in theaters. But what about you, Joe?
I don't know where I'll be seeing it. I don't know if I'm going to be seeing it in Tennessee. I don't know if I'm going to be seeing it in New York. I would hope to see it in New York at the premiere, but it just needs to stay in one spot for a little bit.
I know with you and the Tennessee Ghostbusters, that's gonna kind of make travel interesting. But again, I'm not knocking it. I just can't wait to see it. I know we could replay the trailer again. We could really talk about it again, but at this point, we're just really ready to see it. We're just
ready for the next trailer to come out. That way, we can poke holes in that. I do know that Empire Magazine. Big news story is the Ghostbusters thing. So we get to see a few more things. We do have confirmation that Janine's in a jumpsuit this time. So more of the real Ghostbusters is slowly coming true to real life.
Yep. That's good news. So we can't knock that.
But like Joe said, Ghostbuster spot.
Yeah. But like Joe said, we're just waiting for the next trailer to poke holes in it. But the other movie that's also having a release date change, Godzilla Kong, the New Empire, also gets a new release date. Initially, they were set for April 12th of 2024. The weirdest part about it is they're being set now for March 29th. So what's interesting about this is that we just got through saying Ghostbusters is being moved from March 29th to March 22nd. Godzilla is being moved from April 12th to March 29th. That's a busy ass 2 weeks.
That's good for me. I hate April.
That's a busy ass 2 weeks. Again, me and Joe did cover Godzilla Kong New Empire. We did talk about the fact of the Skull King. We did wonder about we said, do we call him an orangutan? What do we remember calling him, Joe?
Lanky
What do we call him? Yeah, thank you. because at first we didn't know what he was. We did find out that he was a Skull King, which again is a character very famous in kaiju history. Looking forward to that as well, but still good news to see two highly anticipated movies, both being pushed up, and it seems like they're going to be right after each other, after week to week, which again, not a bad thing. But moving right along, guys, I did want Joe did point this out because Xbox has decided to do a developer direct January 18th at 12 p.m. Pacific, which means 3 p.m. Eastern to 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. Now, of course, as you can see here, the games that they will be going over, they did actually show those up here. One will be the Indiana Jones game they were talking about, Avowed, Aura, History Untold, and Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. That's what I'm looking forward to because I love the first Hellblade. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with the next one. But like me and Joe talked about, this is what platformers and consoles are doing now. This is the reason why E3 died. It's the reason why developers have sat there and said, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to showcase our stuff and not wait for a summer of games or a video game awards or those things of that nature. Let's just go ahead and do it our own way and release it our own time, which again is great to a certain point. But like I said, if you're trying to expect a whole cabaret like Summer of Games, which is kind of the next thing coming up, you're going to be waiting. But Joe, the games they described, I know I'm looking forward to Hellblade and Indiana Jones. Any of the 4 games they discovered, any of the 4 games they talked about, you're looking forward to?
I don't own an Xbox.
So I tell you, you're just going to be there to see how bad they can mess it up.
I'm seeing which ones are going to say now coming to Game Pass or Windows 10.
All of them, probably. You know what? I will go ahead and say it. I know the Indiana Jones game is going to be on Game Pass. I know Hellblade 2 is going to be on Game Pass.
I also want them to come out and do another we're sorry we screwed this up apology for Starfield.
You know, now I got an Xbox Series X. I have yet to play Starfield. I have yet to play.
They keep saying it's like it made $10 million in sales. Like, and how much did this game cost to create?
Ooh,
it's not me being petty, guys. Like, in all seriousness, a lot of people put their heart and souls into it. And if you think about it, 10 million units shipped is good. But considering the development costs that Starfield probably went into it, it's probably not as successful as they're making it out to be. You know now, what? Everybody's saying there's nothing to do at the moment.
Once I finish God of War Valhalla, I think I'm going to try Starfield out. I think that's what the first thing I'm going to do in the new movie, give that shot. But again, this is what me and Joe talked about. When you see developer directs, Nintendo game, video game channel drops, Sony will probably have a state of play. Ubisoft will probably have another update, I'm assuming, will happen at some point. But this is the future we live in now. Now, don't get me wrong. They have a couple of games there that I am interested in seeing what they do with them because we haven't had an Indiana Jones game, correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, since Super NES.
No, there's like a PC game, Indiana Jones in the City of Atlantis.
Okay, so it was a PC game. Okay, I didn't know.
The thing is, we will probably be seeing these within the next month, probably February. We'll start seeing some more because March starts their spring fiscal year. Yeah. So they got to start putting out their directs of, hey, here's what's coming out in the spring.
That's true. But, you know, like I said, it could be like Sega that's right now hiding an $800 million budget on a game, which, again, we didn't really want to go into that just because there's very little information on that right now. This fact that Sega, so what?
Which game?
They didn't say. I tried looking that up before the beginning of the podcast. They did not.
I swear to God, if it's Shenmue again, I'm gonna scream.
The thing about it is, they didn't say what game it was. They just sat there and said that the creative budget was $800 million.
But we know it's not Sonic, and they know by now. If you're going to spend that much money, it's not going to Shenmue. It's going towards the Ryuga team, the Like a Dragon team.
Yeah. Although Like a Dragon, You know what? This makes me want to play. I mean, Rise of Rona is not like a dragon, but still, I want to play that freaking game.
I mean,
but no,
Infinite Wealth comes out in like 2 weeks.
yeah, but Like a Dragon, the man who erased his name, I love that series. Jesus,
I'm playing it right now.
I love that series right now. But
I just want to have the Japanese theme of Spider-Man play in the background because of the goofy watch.
you're not wrong. You are not wrong. But again, guys, that was the developer group again for January 18th. We'll just see what they do with that. Speaking of other trailers, this one was a surprise because I kind of forgot about Masters of the Universe Revolution. They have a new trailer that's debuting as their new season. I'm not sure if it's out already or will be coming out. Joe, you know?
Will be coming out. We will also probably get copyright strike for this one because it does have licensed music in it. So,
well, we take these strikes for you. Here's the trailer.
Word says something.
She says, "Oh, she's waving. Hey, Kira." She's waiting.
Hey,
so yes, we may take a hit for this, but we take these hits for you. Here's the trailer.
Death comes for us all. Even for kings it comes. You will have to make a choice. Will you rule as Adam or as He-Man? Because it cannot be both.
I'll never be half the man or king my father was.
Eternia needs a king.
Why would the power reveal itself to me if I was destined to give it up?
I know where my talents lie. On the throne of Eternos. Time for a revolution.
He's not Skeletor anymore. He's more powerful than ever. I'm here to ask for help.
He who masters technology masters the universe. We know how powerful a little magic can be.
I have the power!
It's not about what you hold in your hand, but what you hold in your heart.
It's over, Skeletor! It's just the beginning.
By the power of Grayskull.
All right. And that, guys, was the trailer for Masters Universe Revolution. As you can see, I love the fact that 80s music is making a comeback. I love the fact that we're getting that. I immediately thought Karate Kid and Bloodsport came to my mind for that. But I have got to catch up on this. But that's going to be coming out January 25th. Joe, any thoughts on that?
There are a lot of She-Ra villains, which I'm okay with because currently it's Hordak invading Eternia. But I'm kind of wondering if we're going to get a She-Ra cameo or if they are going to go full thing and let Adam have both the powers of She-Ra and He-Man. Because he had kind of that white version at the end of the thing. So I wonder if he's got both the power and the honor of Grayskull at the end for the finale or something. Or if we're just going to get like a She-Ra appearance out of nowhere. I don't know. I don't know how the rights work, and I think Kevin Smith said something about it once, but that was when this was in development, and She-Ra was currently active in like season 5.
I think a little bit of column A, column B. I think we might get a She-Ra appearance, and I think they might actually do a combined power set.
Yeah, it looked to me like that final white form with the regal look was like for the power and honor of Grayskull.
Yeah. Which, again, I wouldn't be against it, but Kevin Smith has done a great job with the show.
Also, Keith David is Hordak.
That's still funny. That is still funny. But, again, that comes out January 25th, guys. I'm definitely going to catch up with it. If you guys got your opinions on it, let us know in the comments as well. Also, from the PlayStation world, if you have PlayStation Plus or if you did the smart thing and downgrade it because you don't want to be paying a buttload amount of money, here's the catalog for January, guys. For the free games, Lego City Undercover, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, Hard Space Shipbreaker, Resident Evil 2, Session, and Just Cause 3. Now, those are the games that will be available for download for free. I want to say either next. Oh, thank you, January 16th. I just had to scroll down and read it. So, actually, about 4 days, all of those will be available to be downloaded. I can tell you this: Just Cause 3 is definitely a game I'd recommend. Resident Evil 2, the remake, was definitely fun. Tarantino Wonderland was actually a good one too. But then again, there's never been a bad Borderlands game to me. And of course, there's never been such thing as a bad Lego game. Let's just be honest. Any Lego game you play has never been a bad one. But Joe, any ones from that group you'd also recommend?
Spaceship Heartbreaker. I keep hearing great things about it.
Okay, I've never
Go
played
down.
it.
I think there was more to the list than the actual list. I could be wrong though.
Let's take a look. Shadow Tactics was a Shogun. Never played that.
Tactical game.
I have played that. Vampire the Masquerade Swans. The Masquerade is definitely worth playing if you've never played that.
My problem with that game is it has no voice acting. I feel like if anything, if you're going to be a visual novel, you need, with choices and whatnot, or a visual novel in general, you need to be voice acted.
Fair. Surviving the Aftermath. Never played that. And it goes into the classics: Rallycross, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, and Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection for the PS4, and Legends of Mana and Secret of Mana. Ooh, wow, that takes me back. Those were games from the Super NES versions, but definitely great RPG games to play if you've never played Secret of Mana or Legend of Mana. It is definitely worth playing those games as well. But those are the games that are all available on PlayStation Plus in 4 days. You guys can definitely check them out. I may actually go back and download a few of those myself, actually. But moving right along, guys, we have to talk about, what Marvel has done. And what I mean by what Marvel has done, I'm talking about Echo. Before we do get started, guys, yes, we are going to fully talk about Echo. If you have not seen Marvel's Echo yet, if you have not seen those 5 episodes yet, I am telling you this because I want to be very, very clear about what I'm saying. If you have not seen Marvel Echo and intend on watching it spoiler-free, now would be a good time to mute us or come back to us in a few minutes because we're definitely going to talk about it. So again, Marvel's Echo was literally, I call it Marvel's first attempt at going dark story, going a little bit more darker in their storytelling, as it did evolve around a very auspicious character for 5 episodes. So Joe, I'm gonna let you go first. What did you think about Echo, sir, and how it did over those 5 episodes?
It was fun. I felt the odd number episodes were the stronger. Everything was good. It was one of those shows I actually had to pay attention to because I kept forgetting the majority of this was going to be done through sign language. Mm-hmm. So it was one of those, like, I was going to put it on the background and listen, and then for like 20 minutes, nothing's going on, but I hear things like, oh, right, sign language. So rewind, go back and actually watch it. Like I said, I enjoyed it. It was fine. I felt the first, third, and fifth episode were much stronger than the second and fourth. Mm-hmm. All the acting was fantastic. Great representation for the indigenous American culture. Vincent D'Onofrio continues to hit out of the park in this thing. More potential abilities, even though she doesn't have these abilities in the comics. But in the comics, she was also the host for the Phoenix Force for a bit. So there's that. Right. For me, it was good. Like I said, the best part was probably the first episode with that was the problem I had with it, though, is they got the big fight you wanted, like, right out of the way and then nothing more. But, I said, it was just fine to me. I'm not going to say it's fantastic. I'm not going to say Marvel's back. Marvel never went anywhere. You people just got tired of it, which is understandable. Yeah, I said it was fun. It's just I watched like 4 shows back to back, and this was like number 3 out of the 4 shows that I watched because I was watching this, The Brother's Son, Monarch, and one other show like back to back to back in rotation. It's like the brother's son and Monarch were a little bit stronger.
No, that's fair. I still got to watch the brother's son.
I mean,
I've heard
Vincent D'Onofrio, fantastic, but you're also dealing with Godzilla and Michelle. So, like, know your pecking order.
No, fair. No, but for me, Echo, like I said, I heavily enjoyed it. People were kind of mad about Daredevil only being in there for 58 seconds. It's not his series. I'm not. It amazes me so, and not to go on this rant. It amazes me so that if you saw Daredevil appear, okay, Daredevil appears, that's fine, but he's only there as part of a deterrent. And don't get me wrong, even for the part he's in there is great. At the same time, it's not his series. We're still another year off before we get to Daredevil Born Again. We're a year away. I mean, you made it through 1 year, you can make it through another year. But
that fight was so good.
But the level of complaints with that's the part that killed me. I'm like, the level of complaints was just why in the world are you going to really complain about Daredevil being in the series? You're basically making the same argument you did in She-Hulk. That's what you're basically doing, which again is asinine. But to Echo's character, her development as far as going back home, seeing her cousins, Biscuit made it funny for me. I'm like, Biscuit was definitely the comic relief for the group. But the whole thing of reuniting with her grandmother, so to speak, and that lineage of really telling a story. And then there's that weird relationship between her and the Kingpin, which is funny because she basically one-eyed him, and then he still came back and still won her in the fold. And I just love the fact that his whole Vincent D'Onofrio's take on the Kingpin is always going to be my favorite, just because the whole idea of, you were like a daughter to me. I can't, no matter what happens, we're family. And you can tell the fact that she had multiple times to unalive the Kingpin, and she didn't take it. At the same time, she kind of at the end healed a little bit of trauma, because the whole thing of what did you do? What did you do to me? It's like the whole time she's still trying to redeem him. And that was a different twist, but I like it. At the same time, she's kind of taking on that same power that her mother has, of the whole idea of she's a healer and the fact of trying to heal her own traumas and things of that nature. It was an interesting story. And I love the fact that even though 5 episodes was enough for the series, I have no issue with that. But at the very end, the one last cutscene we got at the end of the last episode, and I was expecting you to give me 2 words. I was ready really to type 2 words. I'm like, so we're going to finally enter that stage. I said it had to be wonderful timing that the Netflix MCU shows are now considered MCU canon, and then that they're available on Disney Plus. But the fact of but Joe, tell me you did not hear Mayor Wilson Fisk at the end of that.
I mean, if they can adapt Devil's Reign, do it.
It needs to be done. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's really perfect, because number one, you've already established the fact of the MCU being canon as far as those 4 shows. At the same time, what better way to do Daredevil Born Again than the Devil's Reign storyline?
Well, I mean, you have the principal players already in the MCU, so.
But would that not be perfect for Born Again?
Oh, no, sure. I'm down. I'm still on that Daredevil fight where he just does that fadeaway jump through the falling thing. It's like, that's perfect Daredevil.
That was kind of disrespectful, actually. The flip away, but still throw a pin back just as he's trying to go for the shotgun. That's
no. The one where he just like jumps through the cabinet, that fadeaway jump.
Oh yeah.
It's like I'm just watching that. It's like, no, that is perfect Daredevil.
But that's where I'm getting at this. Like, no, not to take away from Echo. Again, guys, this is the thing I was trying to sit there and say the most. That we're not taking away from Echo as far as it being a nice story. It is. It's a nice story. It's the fight scenes, which, by the way, always seen. If you count a bowling alley, but still counts. At the same time, it still kept your attention for 5 episodes. It's kind of hard to argue with that, really is. But that's why I'm sitting there saying I loved it. I kind of want to see Marvel. I really want to see Marvel take more risk like that. take some. You can actually take some stories with some individuals and do some story and do some risk like that, and you can tell them in the grimy way without being ultimately violent. Which for Echo, a lot of the violence was not as bad as we thought it would be. It was actually very tame, actually. But you can tell those stories and still get the same effect. Marvel could actually take some risk and do some more with that. But what do you think, Joe?
No, I said it was fun. Of the four shows I watched, this was the third best. But like I said, it's just very hard to compete against like Godzilla and Michelle Yeoh. So, like, I finished Monarch. Monarch was fantastic. It does lead in kind of to the new Godzilla movie coming out because of shenanigans. And to quote MST3K and Linkara, space is warping and time is bendable.
Fair enough.
That actually really sums up some key plots in Monarch. Space is warping and time is bendable.
I have really got to finish Monarch, and I've got to finish Monarch because that first episode had me hooked, but I couldn't stay awake.
Oh, it gets so much better as it goes along.
But
you do get to see a Godzilla fight. That was the only thing I'll spoil for you.
Nice. So moving right along, guys. Speaking of video games, I should say video game adaptations that have turned to successful television series. The Last of Us. We now have a Abby. What I mean by that is the young lady you see there, Caitlin Dever, will now be casted as Abby in The Last of Us. For all those that remember The Last of Us Part 2, Abby played a very tumultuous character in the video game series, especially if you are a fan of Joel. I'm not going to spoil it for you because, again, if you have not played The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2, you might be slightly confused as to what her character will be. But the fact that we're getting her and this man here, is about his name. Let's see. Young Mazzino. Sir, if I'm pronouncing your name, I apologize. Young Mazzino will be Jesse, also cast as Jesse in The Last of Us. Now, again, Jesse is... Say what?
Young Mazzino.
Okay, because I didn't know if I was going to get that right or wrong. But yes, these two actors have been cast in The Last of Us. Now, of course, again, I'm speaking from a video game standpoint. You will actually see Jesse and Abby in The Last of Us 2 because of certain roles that they're in. But both of their stories do intertwine. I'm going to leave it at that because, number one, if I told you exactly what happened, you wouldn't watch The Last of Us, and you probably wouldn't play The Last of Us Part 2. So, do I think it's great that HBO is moving forward with The Last of Us? Absolutely. Pedro Pascal and the young lady that plays Ellie did a tremendously great job in the series. I think the series was really well done for a season 1. It is obvious we're going to get a season 2. Do I think that season 2 is going to fast forward a little bit? Yes, just because you're bringing in the Last of Us Part 2 characters, which means that there might be a little bit of a time jump. There might be some events that are going to happen. And again, depending on if they follow the story or not, some of y'all might be mad. Some of y'all might be surprised. That's all I'm going to say about that. But Joe, any thoughts on those castings, sir?
I have no idea who they are.
Oh, that's right. Have you ever played The Last of Us? I just not thought about that.
Played The Last of Us Part 1. I didn't feel like being depressed even more, so I never played 2.
Okay. I'll tell you. If you want to know, I'll tell you offline. But again, with The Last of Us, which again is in the middle of filming for season 2. This was one of those very few video game adaptations that at the time we did not know we have a good track record on. This was definitely before One Piece with Netflix and Yu Yu Hakusho. So, which beforehand, getting a successful video game adaptation to TV seemed almost impossible because you had so many people really either overdoing it or forgetting the fact that you had a lot of lore from the video game that you could have really made into a television series. But The Last of Us seems to get it right. I'm just hoping for a few more mutated individuals to show up. If they get those people right, I'm sold. But again, holding off on saying any more information and also please don't go to Wikipedia looking up. You're going to make yourself mad. I'm trying to tell you this. Don't go on YouTube. Don't go on Wikipedia looking up these characters, because if you do, you're going to spoil yourself. Fair warning. But moving right along, guys, before we get to our comic pulls, Tekken has given up. Tekken this week, well, I should say this last week and a half, has given us a lot. But we're actually going to start with some character reveals as we get closer to that release date. This first one is about a very particular killer robot, which I'm surprised they waited this long to release it.
Get ready for the next battle! Tekken 8! New Challenger!
軽装運転で頑張ります。
アリサ・ボスカラベッチ！
アリサです。死んでください。よろしくお願いします。すいません。愛してけね。ありがとうございます。生ライトいきます。これでラストです。やりました。勝負ありだっちゃ。また明日。
Oh, that's a big zoom up. Sorry about that. So that was the first reveal of Elisa from Tekken 8, of course, coming out January 26th. There was also another release of another character. Not my favorite, but a lot of people love pandas. And there's a trailer for this one.
Every single fight, no matter
Ready for the next battle! Tekken 8! New Challenger! And up!
Again, that's got to be kind of hateful to get hit with a beach ball as a weapon. But as you can see, guys, for Tekken 8, which again comes out January 26th, we are not too far off from that. Did release Panda and Elisa. And if you thought that was nuts, the last one I got from Tekken 8, just because you could not expect anything else. But say, for instance, if you don't know the story of Tekken 8, that you want an abbreviated narration of it, Brian Cox, for all those who don't remember, great actor from movies like shows like Succession. Imagine if he narrated the current story of Tekken. Joe, if you haven't seen this, either you're going to be surprised or just say, yep, that sounds exactly like what it is. But for all those that don't know the story of Tekken 8, here's the story so far.
Every single fight, no matter how big or small, has a story behind it. That's why when it comes to Tekken and the King of Iron Fist tournament, there's one hell of a story to tell. In Tekken 8, Jin Kazama will face off against his father, Kazuya Mishima, for the last time. Kazuya is threatening global domination, and since Jin is the only other person who possesses the devil gene as well, he may be the only chance the world has left. But how did we even get to this point? What the hell is a devil gene? And why do these fathers and sons keep throwing each other off cliffs? Well, it revolves around these three men: Heihachi Mishima, his son Kazuya Mishima, and his son Jin Kazama. When Kazuya was just 5 years old, his father, Heihachi, feared the boy possessed the devil gene, which is passed down through generations to the bearer's children. It allows the host to transform into a winged demon that possesses incredible strength and power. So, Heihachi did what any loving father would do. Threw Kazuya off this cliff to see if he would survive. And survive he did. Kazuya would spend the next 21 years training to become a deadly fighter. The hatred he harbored for his father fueling his motivations. Ultimately, Kazuya would defeat Heihachi and become the first King of Iron Fist tournament champion. And then, in a moment of poetic justice, would throw his father off a cliff. Years later, we find Kazuya has turned even more sinister than his father was. But it brings us to the one woman who saw the potential good in Kazuya: animal rights activist Jun Kazama. Together, they would have a child, the third piece of this patricidal puzzle, Jin Kazama. Jin grew up without knowing his father, and after tragedy suddenly befell his mother, Jin sought out his grandfather and would be trained in the Mishima fighting ways by none other than Heihachi Mishima. Ever the opportunist, and knowing Jin possessed the devil gene, Heihachi would use Jin until ultimately betraying his grandson, shooting him at point-blank range in the face. However, death was not for Jin, and what would kill any other man would trigger what had laid dormant in Jin until that moment, and Devil Jin was born. Since then, these three men have waged war against each other time and time again. This is until the most recent tournament, where Kazuya faced off against his father, Heihachi, for the final time by taking his life and throwing the body into a volcano, like only a Mishima can. Which brings us to now. Kazuya's complete global control is almost at hand, and his power is seemingly unchecked. However, now fully healed from his own battles, Jin has resurfaced and is focused on stopping his father to become not just the newest champion of the King of Iron Fist tournament, but possibly the savior of all mankind too. In Tekken 8, Fist meets fate.
And I'm not mad about that. So that, of course, that was the narration of Brian Cox for the story so far in Tekken 8. As we talked about, guys, it will be coming out January 26th. Not too far from now. You can still pre-order it. I'm looking forward to it just because, again, I've been playing Tekken since playing it in a laundromat and getting annoyed about how I couldn't fight with Kazuya. I couldn't fight with Kazuya, but I could fight with armor. I could fight with King with no problem. But anyway, that's the story of it so far. The fact they got Brian Cox to narrate it means that they definitely did spend some dough on this. I'm sold on this. Joe, what about you?
He nearly put me to sleep because his voice was so nice.
The soothing sounds of Brian Cox.
No, I mean, I'll get it eventually. My money's going to Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth on the 26th. I'm not gonna lie.
Nice.
I also have this weird sneaking suspicion that Street Fighter is going to try and dunk on them on the release date.
Oh yeah, they're gonna push something out.
Well, I mean, it's super weird. We still haven't seen anything for Ed.
Yeah.
And Ed is supposed to come out. And they're really pushing Akuma, who's not supposed to be out till spring. So I'm wondering if they're just not going to give us both Ed and Akuma in the same week.
It's possible.
Just to like trump it. Just to like push sales. Because I mean, let's be honest. If you're going to spend anything, you're not going to be spending it on Ed. Unless you're like me, because you want to give Ed a shot because you want to see what he's going to play like in Street Fighter 6. But everybody is going to go from being a casual Ken to a casual Akuma and be that modern player that only has a one-button Hisatsu.
I still got to play Street Fighter 6. You're not wrong though. I mean, I can see that too. It's the whole idea of just, will they let Tekken shine? I mean, I'm thinking about that. Will Capcom let Tekken shine on its own on the 26th? Will they let it shine?
They will, but also I would not put it past them to here's Ed. Oh, by the way, Akuma's also available.
It would be petty though. But I guess we'll find out in a couple of weeks. But anyway, everybody going as like I said, oh crap, I almost forgot. Joe, you've seen Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 1. Is it worth watching, sir?
My better question is, why is this a 3-part movie?
That long or that long to explain?
Well, the good thing is that this is, again, a Flash movie. So this has been very fun. It's a little bit weird in storytelling because it's the Flash and he's out of sync with time a whole lot. So you see certain events at certain periods. The Justice... what are they called? Not the Justice Lords. The Crime Syndicate is in this movie. They do a good job with them. Do a good job there. It's just one of those, it's fine. It's better than the last movie we got. We get to see a lot of Lisanne Augustine. So not much. Don't know who Lisanne is.
But in your opinion, is it worth watching?
It's fine.
Hey, Augustine. Lisanne Augustine, how you doing? But yeah, okay, that's what I was wondering. I have yet to see.
It's better than the last one we got, which was just an hour and 30 minutes to tell us, by the way, the next movie's Crisis. But I mean, the other reason we're getting this is because the Tomorrowverse, which is what we're currently in now, is wrapping up so the animated Gunverse can start going.
Gotcha.
So, like, a lot of stuff has got rushed. A lot of stuff doesn't feel like fully formed. I mean, we at least got a good speaking role for Ted Core Blue Beetle, and classic question is in this from like Justice League Unlimited question.
Okay.
It's like, are they doing? It's like, why do they do all this? Got to ask the questions and blah 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 blah.
No.
Then they take a lot of liberties with some things. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. It's whatever.
So is it worth watching, or is it more like you probably need to muddle through it, or how do you feel about it?
It held my attention, and I found a way to watch it for free. So that'll tell you that.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Well, as Joe is getting ready for the comic book pulls of the week, guys, we always do want to show love. First and foremost, to Rick's Comic City, Nashville's #1 place for comics, for mangas, for collectibles, for toys, posters. You got it. They probably have it. They have 2 locations, one in Nashville, Tennessee, and one in Clarksville, Tennessee, and Locker Nerd in Fort Campbell. You can also go to their website at rickscomiccity.com, to where you can do your comic book pulls, your pull list, your trades and hardbacks, your gift cards, things of that nature. Again, we want to show them love because they show us love. Mention us. It doesn't get you any discounts, but at the same time, you'll see our handsome mugs playing on their TVs in there. And like I said before, we always want to show them love wherever we can. If you are not in the Middle Tennessee area, please support your local comic book stores, support your local libraries. Why? Because these are going to be the last places, guys, to where you can actually get comic books, mangas, things of that nature in your hand. I get it. Comixology is great. Barnes & Noble is great. Kindle is great. But it's just something about having something actually in your hands. And of course, for libraries, me and Joe say this all the time, kids. Read the banned books. We cannot tell you enough that whatever they're trying to keep you from reading means that you need to read it and learn it, because trust me, you'll be better off for it. So definitely, as Joe is showing right there, definitely, kids, read the banned books. If you are in the Middle Tennessee area, please support Rick's Comic City. If you're not, support your local comic stores, your mom and pop stores. Stop small, shop local, support your local libraries. Trust me, you're going to miss them where they're gone. But I see, Joe, that you're queued up, sir. So whenever you're ready.
Yep. So first book tonight, as soon as we pop it up.
That's it. It might take a second. And yes, we fully agree. Read the banned books. We cannot stress that enough.
Is it because I'm not looking at it?
Oh, there you go. Now you're good.
It's because I'm not looking at it. Okay, so this is Action Comics, Superman Superstars. This is kind of a soft reboot for Action Comics. They got rid of the old team, which kind of sucks. I liked it being about the Superman family. Now we're just about Superman again. This is with Jason Aaron, who jumped ship from Marvel after his disastrous Avengers run, and with John Timms as our writer. This is Bizarro Part 1, where we learn that Bizarro, because he's the opposite of Superman, has somehow ended up on a planet full of magic and enchantments. And because he is the opposite of Superman, magic is not his weakness. It only strengthens him, to the point where he himself becomes some sort of idiot savant with arcane magic.
Pretty much.
And then runs into Superman and just, well, we'll just call it what it was. Pimp slaps him to Jupiter.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's about the best we can put that.
Superman's like, okay, that's not normal. And then Bizarro seemingly does something that has potentially caused the Earth to become bizarre, or at least Metropolis to become the new Bizarro world.
Yeah.
So, interesting premise, good art. I think this suits Jason Aaron. I think Jason Aaron does do better in single books than he does team books. This Superman is just fine. My biggest issue is that I was reading Action Comics for the Superman family, both Superboys, Power Girl, Supergirl, Keenan, the Super Twins, the whole family. I was reading it for them. I was not reading it for just Superman. I read Superman for Superman. And now this book is just Superman. So I may have to cancel this book soon if I just don't start seeing the Superman families.
I was interested in this one because Bizarro never was really seen as a I'm not gonna say
threat.
Thank you. That's about the best.
And the more he started talking in normal sentences, the stronger he became.
Yeah. It's weird. It's like education made him dangerous. Is it bad that phonics made him dangerous?
He must have took the Muzzy course for arcane magic.
So, I mean, don't get me wrong. I like the fact because Bizarro was never, like I said, Bizarro was never seen as a threat. But now that he is, and it's to the point where even Superman's like, what just happened? This is not
like we're 23 million miles away off of one punch.
Right. But no, I liked it. I kind of had it pegged as kind of a Joker kind of move to it. But no, I'm gonna be honest. This catches my attention. This makes me want to see what they do with this.
Yep. No, I don't have a problem with the book. This is definitely a good book. It is a good story. It has good art. My issue is if I want just Superman, I'll read Superman. If I want everybody else, I want to read Action Comics. That's my issue with this book.
Fair.
But moving right along.
But still funny though. Just getting slapped.
Sandman, number 4. This is written by Robert Venditti with art by Riley Rossmo and coloring by Ivan Plesnia with lettering by Tom DiPaolo and cover by Rossmo again. So we have the fallout of Wesley dealing with the fog and just a whole lot of bad stuff going down for Wesley.
But I'm gonna wait to my certain part. It's a certain part I'm waiting for.
Which part? The one where he starts seeing the future and he can see like the Justice Society, his own sidekick, or the part where he busts in and holds a murder. It's like, I'm a pacifist, but I'm still gonna take you out.
I was gonna say the Spartan kicked the fog. These Spartan kicked the fog out the window. For a pacifist. I'm a pacifist.
I was wondering if that really was the fog or if that was somebody else, because I thought that was a different villain.
I think it's the fog, but I'm sorry. We're kind of going ahead though. You got to kind of explain up to that point.
No, it's just Wesley's dealing with being gassed and all of the fear and toxin and whatnot, and trying to hunt down the fog to get all of his like notes back so they don't fall into the wrong hands. And then finally meets somebody. It may be the fog. It was a little unclear to me. This gas also may have triggered his innate ability to have prosthetic dreams, which kind of bums me out. I kind of like that his prosthetic dreams was given to him as a gift by Dream himself. But, you know, Jeff Johns is going to, Robert Venditti is not always going to, new take on characters. It's fine. I'm just glad I'm getting more Sandman.
No, I get that too. But no, it was a good issue though. The whole fever dream thing was like, if I freak out like this, what is the rest of the city gonna do?
Oh yeah.
And at the same time, his book is still out there. But yeah, it was a good issue.
I really dug it. Okay, moving over into Marvel, because we got quite a bit of Marvel. They are bringing back the giant size books. So first off was Giant Size Spider-Man, clearly written with Miles Morales. This is in continuity with Gang War. So this happens in between Miles's Gang War books. So Miles and Venom, this is written by Cody Ziegler with art by Iman Colio and coloring by Guru EFX. With Brian Hitch and Alex Sinclair doing art. So Miles is tracking the Rabble, which is his new archenemy, who is, we swear to God, not Marvel's Miles Morales, the Tinkerer. And the Hobgoblin, because Hobgoblin is trying to make a move on Brooklyn. And Venom busts up a whole spy ring, and then it's a giant fight between Venom and Miles. Because the Venom symbiote is going solo and not listening to Dylan for whatever reason. And just giant fight.
It's still funny, but the Lethal Protector, he's like, I thought you were on our side. He's, well, if you're in my way. But no, it was interesting as far as Miles really taking on himself Venom, because of course that's not Brock's Venom. It's I forgot his name already.
Dylan.
Thank you. Who's actually it? And you can see Dylan's trying to not get Venom to kill, but it was a good issue. It was a good break from Gang War, but it also kind of leads to Gang War in a sense.
Yep. Which, speaking of Gang War, Miles Morales Gang War.
Yeah.
This is also written by Cody Ziegler with Federico Valentini and Frederica Manson as artists, Brian Valenza as coloring, and Federico Valentini and Richard Isinove as the cover artists.
Mm-hmm.
So this leads right out of the last book, and Miles and Ms. Marvel and the anti-spider squadron that has been following around, made of that random speedster and Scorpion,
right,
and other heroes. The Starling, Miles' girlfriend, the Starling, trying to take on everything going on in Gang War, while also attempting to put a stop to again Hobgoblin and the Rabble. They're having to put Uncle Aaron back in place because he's got the Prowler costume back on. We get Miles's surviving clone that's a good guy, Gloop, and the actual OG Hobie Brown comes in. I did not realize Hobie was the Hornet.
That was surprising to me, but the fact that he gave him the Prowler outfit and said, "I see what you're trying to do, but if you decide to go back to your old ways, I'm coming back for that." It's like, damn, okay.
Really great issue. I love everything about it. I love that Miss Marvel's doing in this book, because she's everywhere right now.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Spider-Man I just want to read.
Because it actually looks like Spider-Man, not a block?
Well, yeah, on top of that, it's just good storytelling, because Cody Ziegler can tell a good Spider-Man story. But most importantly, the artwork is not in total garbage.
I'm sorry, it's still funny. It's still funny.
It's funny because it's true.
Very much so.
We also got Luke Cage #3. This is written by Rodney Barnes with art by Ramon F. Box, colors by Andrew Dollhouse, and Kenan White doing the cover. Luke Cage is now officially fighting giant robots around the mayoral mansion, or the is it his mansion? Is it the mayoral house, or is it City Hall?
That's the mayoral mansion.
Okay, so he's fighting everybody around his new mayoral house, and by everyone I mean giant spider slayers, because he's ran afoul of Alistair Smythe. And I did want to spoil this one because there's nothing more to say. He's got a cage. Luke Cage is saying a giant robot. Everyone's argument is invalidated.
Meet the Cage Buster. Just wow. I have so many questions, and at the same time,
I don't know how much money the taxpayer dollars were spent on this.
But I mean, it's kind of necessary when you're fighting Alistair Smith robots.
What do you think?
It's still, you know what? It kind of fits him, but at the same time, I'm like, I was expecting. Is it bad? It looks like more like Hammer Tech and AIM than it does Stark Tech.
Probably. I mean, what do you think about the book overall?
Oh, the book itself was great. I like the fact that they're really giving Cage a more. It's literally more of a Defenders feel, if it makes sense, than an actual Cage book, just because you have him at the forefront. But no, the run itself for Gang War with him in it's great.
I also do like the Cloak and Dagger bits for a little bit.
I'm kind of mad at that. I'm kind of mad at Cloak. I'm like, really? You realize the abilities that you have, sir. You could have. I had to stop myself a few times. Like, really, Cloak? You could have been a little bit more destructive than evasive. That's all I'm saying.
Why he like got fully depowered from using too much of his power? Then it's like, what was the joke about his hair or him being hungry?
Hungry.
Yeah.
Too much of his power. He basically turns into Goku. He turns into Goku post battle. Got anything to eat?
Pretty much. Overall, good issue. We got She-Hulk number 4, Sensational She-Hulk number 4. This is with Rainbow Raul, with art by Ig Guerrera, colors by D. Coffney, and cover by Jen Bartel. This is just a girls' night out with Jen, Carol, and Patsy. However, Patsy recently had a whole I died and went to hell scenario, and something may have followed her back. Also, Jack of Hearts is here this time. This really is like the actual thing. Like, Jack of Hearts was here. He went out, then saw Carol, became very uncomfortable because last time the three were together, it was Avengers Disassembled.
Yep.
So now the Girls' Night Out has turned into Let's Fight Demons.
That was still funny. And Carol's like, I am not a Debbie. Carol's like, I am not a Debbie Downer. I am a life of the party. Okay. Whatever you say, Carol.
I am a girl, invite me to the party.
That was still funny.
I can just continue to love this book. It's so much fun to read. It's a nice palate cleanser when you got to read other things. It's just fun and it's good art.
Yeah.
Fall of the House of X, Rise of the Powers of X. Okay, I'm going to be really honest with everybody. While I did love this book, I did not understand what was going on half the time because there was so much flip-flopping between futures, realities, end of times, and new starts.
Pretty much. It was honestly, it was too long. It was really too long for an issue. Like, I get that you're trying to explain everything, but this was kind of a long one. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And
so this is written by Kieran Gillen with art by R.B. Silva, coloring by David Krull, and designed by Tom Mueller and Jay Bowen. Cover artist by David Krull, Sorrell, and R.B. Silva. Okay, there are timeline. Professor Xavier is trying to figure out what is the best timeline to move forward with once they can establish what Moira is going to do, or how to even prevent the Krakoa Age from going this far with Moira, while also trying to prevent the Sinister Dominion from taking over, while also preventing the Machine Future from taking over. A lot happens in this book.
Oh, a lot. Keep that in mind. A lot, to the point to where you almost had to start writing notes. You got to the point like, okay, usually I'm pretty good at remembering certain aspects of it all, but holy crap, you got to go back and actually write some notes down.
Yeah, you got to kind of like draw a diagram, and it's like, all right, over here is this story, over here is this timeline. Here is this timeline. Here's this timeline. So if you take person from timeline A and shift them slightly over, you get timeline C. But if they don't do this at this exact time frame, it becomes timeline B. Mm-hmm. But if we do it in that time frame, it becomes timeline D.
See, in my opinion, this is where you basically become Charlie Day from It's Everything Sunny in Philadelphia. It's always sunny in Philadelphia. It's always sunny. You're gonna be that. You're gonna basically be Charlie Day with all those points and the poster board behind you. It's gonna be like, yep, rabbit hole.
Yeah, but Nightcrawler just got done being Spider-Man. I don't think he can be Nightman or Dayman.
True, but at the same time,
the book is good. The art is fantastic. The only problem, like we said, is it's a little hard to follow because of all the jumping around.
Pretty much.
You do need to know some of this going forward for like the finale of the Krakoa period. So we can't stress that enough. It's just We wish you luck in your endeavors.
Man, and then some.
Now, we are about to get to our final book tonight. I do want to say Transformers 4 came out, written and drawn by Daniel Warren Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Optimus Prime gets a new arm in that book. It is. Oh, also, for this week, for this issue's Pro Wrestling Move, it is either an RKO or a Kavat DDT.
Oh, look at that. That's an RKO.
Yes.
That's definitely
so I actually had to
RKO.
ask my buddy Jesse, who's a professional wrestling referee. It's like, which one is this, RKO or that? It's like, it could be an RKO, but since it looks like his head is inverted, it also could be a Kavat DDT.
Yeah. Although for the impact, though, I would think RKO, but you got a point.
So Optimus gets a new arm, and we finally see where Megatron may or may not be in stasis, question mark.
Okay.
So also for there. But book of the night, Ultimate Spider-Man #1.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God.
The
this is written by Jonathan Hickman with, huh?
No, I was gonna say the art's a lot better, isn't it?
Well, it's Marco Gicchetto. We took him off Daredevil to come do this.
Pretty much.
Covered by Matthew Wilson, covers by Mark Gicchetto and Matthew Wilson. So, this is Ultimate Spider-Man, and this is a Spider-Man that is married, Spider-Man with 2 children, Spider-Man that because he never became Spider-Man, because of everything in the Ultimate Universe, in this new version of the Ultimate Universe, he is not yet Spider-Man. So that means Uncle Ben is still alive, who is co-owner of the Daily Bugle. Who treats
weird.
Peter with respect because he respects his uncle.
Mm-hmm.
You see that Peter and MJ are going through a rough patch, and they and like actual mature adults, they sit and talk about it.
Which was different.
And the children are probably about as brilliant as the Richards children. Well, at least we know Richard. At least we know Richard is. We don't know about May, but we definitely know Richard is probably smart as everybody else in the room.
Was it weird reading this that you just felt like it was Bizarro World? Like
it was a Bizarro World. I was just waiting for the pin to drop, and I like that there's like Peter just feels empty because he knows something's missing in his life. He just doesn't know what. And like I said, the best thing about the book is that he tells MJ, hey, can we talk about this later? And then, unlike every other Spider-Man book, they actually sit down and talk about it later.
Right.
And they work it out totally. She's like, you do what you got to do. I'm going to go to bed. Get what you need to feel fulfilled done. And they even ask, like, is it our marriage? She's like, no, we're good. It's like, is it the kids? They're fantastic. Is it me? No, you're fantastic. It's like, I feel like I'm missing something. Then you see the pin drop.
Yeah. And then it's weird the fact that the mask comes out. It's like, wait a minute, so he retired from being Spider-Man?
No. Like, in this universe, he never got bit as a kid.
It's the sorry, I'm backwards. It's the spider. That's what it is. That's what it is. Yeah.
So Tony Stark somehow gives Peter the spider through like a ways and means. We're not going to spoil the whole book. But he gets bit, and the suit is nanotech, which probably means it can inherit. As we've seen with this book cover, leading up to the preview, this is not a spoiler. This has just been going through previews. He has different spider suits on in each different cover. We've seen him in the black suit. We've seen him in the normal suit like we have here. We've seen him in the 2099 suit. We know the spider bites him. We know his suit's nanotech. We don't know what this version's Peter's powers are. He could have a ability to have variable spider powers and his suit adapt to different Spider-Men.
Right.
We just don't know. We just see like the black silhouette of Spider-Man with the white eyes.
That's going to be interesting. I mean, it's interesting that the fact of the matter that he had to basically get bit and only at the same time and same time with the nanotech suit, it's a different story. And I think that's what we wanted. We wanted a different story with Peter, not with Peter always being, beat down and broken and either in debt or whatever other situation he's a part of. The fact that the story is different makes me want to read it more. It's like now that he's Spider-Man, or he always felt like something was missing from his life. Are they basically going to sit there and say, okay, now that he wants to be Spider-Man or feels the need to be this person, now we're going to screw with him?
I hope they just don't take it too far, because I do want to see his whole family as a continuing cast.
Yeah.
I even want to see Ben continue as a continuing cast, because that is something people don't get to write about. It's like, what is Ben Parker going to be like with a Spider-Man around?
That is true. And at the same time, are they going to be that cruel and not unalive him first? Hopefully not. I hope they don't.
Well, see, that was also like, I think he'll stick around because Ben dies because of Peter's arrogance as a youth.
Right.
Peter is in his mid-30s in this one. He doesn't have that arrogance.
True. So that makes me wonder. Again, I know we're spitballing here, but
we're just like out there in the ether trying to figure out what this book is going to be, but it shows we're excited because this was good. We need a Peter that can sit and talk and go like, something's wrong. Is it me? No. Is it the marriage? No. Is it the kids? No. I just feel like there is something missing with me. Great. Okay, go find what it is. I will support you no matter what. I understand your uncle and J. Jameson had something happen to them, so they got to start something new. If you need to join them, we got money because I got my modeling career and whatnot, or whatever MJ's doing, because she said she has something. So they said they're not. It's not like they're strapped for cash or anything.
Right. Like,
this book was just what I need Spider-Man to be now.
Yeah, I fully agree. But yeah, I'm looking for the next issue. Like, I gotta see how they do this story, because are they gonna give us tragedy or are they gonna give us something different?
Now, we have seen new pictures of what the Green Goblin looks like in this universe. If you guys thought the Raimi version looked like a Power Ranger, you ain't seen nothing yet.
I'm gonna let that people find them out themselves. But yeah, it was a good issue.
Oh, that's it for books. Yes, no, fantastic issue, fantastic book. I can't wait to read more of it. Now that's it on comics.
Cool. Well, thank you, Joe, for the comment pool as usual, guys. As usual, guys, as we're gonna wrap this up, just because we do thank you all for watching, for liking, for letting people know it's live, for commenting. We certainly appreciate all of that. Joe, anything you want to let people know what you're up to, sir? Besides Show Guy Joe, what else you got going on?
We'll just see what I got going on right now. I'm playing a few video games. I will try and stream Infinite Wealth when it comes out. It's just work is taking a lot out of me to the point where I actually have to take a nap when I get home. I am very sleepy, Joe. At some point, I'll probably try and stream more Grandizer as well, because I don't think that game is very long in the grand scheme of things. It's just a matter of sitting down and staying awake long enough to stream at least an hour and a half.
Gotcha.
It's becoming a challenge. Other than that, like I said, I still got the new channel I just put up. We already got 2 videos out. I will try and keep it as active as possible. It's going to be much more active in March when the new Sentai drops, because I'll be doing weekly thoughts on there. So once the engine or sports cars themed Sentai Boon Boonjer comes out, I don't make up the names, people. Let me see if I can show you a picture. I think I got the folder still of what I'm going to be talking about.
Oh, I can only imagine. I can only imagine. I was like, I can only imagine what they're going to look like, because if it's not
they've already put out the professional picture. They are
they're
fully shown and everything.
Oh wow. Well, while you're doing that, because Again, Showa Guy Joe is where you can find Joe's new page. Of course, his Twitch page, and Joe will tell you last name, is still available for out there to see. And oh dear God, wow, wow, wow.
Yep.
Yeah, that's something. That is something.
Yeah, the Morpher is an exhaust pipe fused with the turbo booster and a speedometer. Black and orange. We get our first main team orange and our first female black. Their morphers are Indy car race handles with axes that become axes. And I'm not sure if that's a gun or a sword right there.
Ah, okay.
Megazord is going to be Ultra Magnus with 2 arms stuck to it.
Interesting. I'm just the face. The face is where I'm just like the front of the helmet is where I'm stuck at. I mean, everything else I can understand, but the
Are you sure it's
front
not the
of
coming
the, is the what? Where's
Are
it
you
up?
sure it's not the fact that they're even making puns? Coming Boone.
Yeah, the puns is one thing. It's just I can't get past the helmet.
So
It's
the joke
almost as
we've
if-
been going with is now that Sentai knows they don't have to make this stuff for Power Rangers to be adapted with, they just don't care. And they're gonna go as wild and crazy as they possibly can.
I see that. Just wow. And it comes out March the 3rd. That's going to be really interesting to say the least. Wow. Well, that's nightmare fuel for my
I'm gonna
eyes.
get the morphers.
That's just, I can't get past the helmet. That's going to be nightmare fuel later. But anyway, thank you for that, Joe. And of course, guys, before I get to me, we do always want to show love to those that share the show as well. My buddy over at my buddy Big VZA Dot. Let me get that page up for the world to see. Give me 1 second. Yeah, my buddy Vaughn, Big VZA Dot. You can find him on all social media, especially his music page. He does music for shows, for television shows, for podcasts, for songs. If you're an aspiring artist, definitely check him out, Big VZA Dot, everywhere you can find him. Also, I do also want to point out Blurred Station. Blurred Station is where you can go, guys. It is the new Netflix we keep talking about that has anime, that has television shows, that has original content for blurs and people of color. You can definitely check them out by going to blurredstation.com. Of course, if you do want to join, it is $10.99 a month. If you go to the Join Now button and then select the Blurred's Eye View Affinity membership, you can select anybody there under Affinity Influence Partner, either anybody there or myself, a Black Spartan. We will all appreciate it. And then if you select the Affinity membership for $10.99, trust me, $10.99 is a deal considering the fact that all these other streaming services are definitely going up. But you do get the Affinity membership, which after 36 months of paying $10.99, you do get the option of owning a piece of Blur Station, which is a lot better than trying to own a piece of Amazon or Netflix or Hulu, because you're basically paying an assload amount of money just for one share. So again, definitely check out blurredstation.com. Definitely join up on the Blurred's Eye View. We would certainly appreciate it, guys, because it is definitely a lot of great things there. Of course, as for myself, guys, you can find me, Black Spartan, of course, BlackBox447 on all my socials. I usually do reviews on anything that I watch, read, and gym stuff because I cannot wait to go back to the gym after being sick for a week. I'm looking freaking forward to it. I cannot tell you that much. But again, guys, definitely check me out there. Also, the link at the bottom will make that a little bit bigger for you guys to see. If you copy and paste that link into your browser, take you to our link tree. That's the YouTube and Facebook groups for all of our podcasts. How the Forever Got Here, Get Bitten Off of this podcast. Like, share, subscribe, tell people about it, share it. We can only grow if you tell people about us. And trust me, we want you to tell people about us because we want to have great conversations with everybody. With also that being said, guys, as we do wrap this up, we will definitely be back here and hopefully next Friday. Same Get Bit time, same Get Bit channel, with more news, our coverage of Monarch of Monsters, of that one Netflix show that I need to watch, The Brothers something. What was it, Joe?
Brother's son.
Thank you. The Brother's Son, which again, I am definitely going to catch up on a lot of that TV. And of course, we'll go over any other video game news that's released during the week. But aside from that, guys, as we keep saying, the weather is changing. Please be careful. Please take care of yourselves and things of that nature. And Joe, any last words, sir, before we call tonight?
No, I'm probably going to go nap.
Well, Sleepy Joe's going to probably call it a night. I don't blame him. But anyway, we want to thank all you guys for watching. As we usually say on the Give It podcast, we are all about fandoms. We love them. We share them. We want to encourage others to be them. The one thing we will never do is be toxic gatekeepers or basically be toxic fandoms. We actually want people to discuss things regardless of whether or not you might not agree, regardless of whether or not they may have a different listing than you, regardless of whether or not they may believe Sailor Moon can actually take Goku. The best thing you can do is agree to disagree and still share the fandoms. That's what we hope that you guys will do, because once we do that, that in that case will involve us that we have more peace in the land, as my son is trying to grab everything in his vicinity. Joe, what are you thinking about over there? You lost some thought over there, sir.
No, I don't think Sailor Moon can do it. I think Sailor Jupiter could, though.
See, now along with that, I believe it too. But again, some people just got to learn to agree or disagree. But with that being said, guys, we do thank you guys, and hopefully you'll watch us on the playback tomorrow. He's been Joe. I've been Will. This has been Give It for a Night, guys. As we always say, take care of yourselves and each other, and have fun with it. Don't be a dick. Peace.
Later.